Hello all, my name is Jordan Mittler, and today we're going to be looking at organizing files. How you, as you begin to use your devices more and more, can go about understanding, organizing, and searching for your different types of files, whether that be photos, video, documents, or the like. Now, what exactly is a file? Well, it's this idea that you're taking on your device, you're holding a specific space for some sort of piece of content, holding some sort of piece of information, code, or media that you yourself on your device could access and your computer or device could store. And files come in many different forms. You'll look here on the left side, we're looking at a screenshot, an image from a Windows computer, which you would use on a PC. And here you're looking at a screenshot from Mac OS, which you'll find on an Apple computer. But the idea here is that this is an image of different types of files. In the Windows here, we have a cover letter, which is accessible via Microsoft Word, a word processor. So this is considered a document. We have here an image, a picture. We have what looks to be like an audio file, some sort of music or podcast or radio track. And then we also have a video. Different forms of content, all of which are files. And same thing here on the Apple computer. We have a document, an image, an audio file, and a video file. Now, with regard to how to know which file is which, it won't always specify presentation audio. But sometimes you could look at the icon itself. You'll notice here there's looks like a little sheet of paper with lines. Here you have a music note, and here it looks like you have a videotape. So sometimes you get a hint from the icons, and other times at the end of the file name, you'll get a hint of what that file may be. You'll notice in the Apple computer, we have for the document .docs, which indicates a document. We have .jpg, which is one of the many codes for an image, and you'll begin as you begin to use these sorts of files more and more often, you'll notice these sorts of endings of document names. We have .mp3, which is an example of an audio file, and .mp4, which is an example of a video file. But the idea here is that if you ever don't know what you're looking at, there's no harm in simply just opening it up and checking it out and seeing if it's the type of file that you're looking to find. But as you can imagine, as we begin to use our devices more and more, and we have so many different types of files and different documents and images, audio and video, it might be challenging to not just find files, but to organize them and manage through them. And that's why this concept of having folders has become very streamlined. The idea that you could have a folder called Photos or Recipes or Work, and you yourself could sort your images, your documents, your videos, and the like in a way that makes sense and allows you to manage your information in a very, very clean and easy fashion. You'll notice on the Mac side, we have tax documents, vacation photos, favorite movies, and home movies, all of which are self-made folders, folders that the user created him or herself, and then eventually stored his sorts of information there. So the idea here is that you will have folders that have been given to you by the devices themselves, and you'll also be able to create your own folders based on the types of things that you are using your devices for. So the idea here, and we'll begin to go into a bit more detail, is right now we're looking at two screenshots, two images from what we call our desktop, which is really the home page of your computer. It's the central page that when you close out all your applications, whether that be the internet or word processing functions and the like, and when you close all of that stuff out, you'll be taken to your home page, your main desktop. And the idea here is that on this desktop, you could place files and folders. And you'll notice here that what we've done on both sides, on both the Windows and the Mac side, is we've done a right click. We've clicked on the right side of our mouse or on our trackpad, and we've been brought up with this panel of results. You'll notice there are some similarities between the two panels. But the idea here is that you could do some different things. So I'm going to point out three things for you that are very important to know with regard to right-clicking on files themselves. And you know that you've selected a file because a little gray box appeared indicating that this file has been selected. And you'll notice here that this image or video, I can't tell from here, but this file itself also was selected because it's highlighted in blue or in a gray background. And in the right-click menu, the first thing I'm going to point out is the word rename. And this is important here because when you download files from the internet or you receive a file via your email, sometimes the name of the file might not necessarily be the type of file that you'll be able to find later on. So you want to rename that file in order to make it easier for you to find that file at a later date. So for example here, if this file was called, I can't see the full word, but working with something icons, you could change that to desktop picture. It looks like it's a picture of the desktop, and you could name this folder whatever you may want to name it. But the idea here is that when you ever download or retrieve a file, step one is you want to name that file appropriately so that you're able to find it later on. Same thing goes with folders. You want these folders to not just be named, hello or documents or very, very broad terms, but you want to think of a name of a file or a name of a folder that will allow you and be helpful in order for finding it later down the road. Next thing here is send to on the Windows side or share on the Mac side, and that allows you, without even opening up your email or messages or any of the other forms of communication that you use, to simply share either the folders or your files with other people. So if someone asks you to send them an image or to send them a document or to send them some sort of video content, simply by right-clicking and clicking on Send To on a Windows or Share on the Apple side, you're able to directly share and send those files over to someone else, either via email, messages, or any other forms of communication that you decide to use. And the last thing I'll point out over here is the term copy. And this people tend to associate with text with regard to copying and pasting text. But it's important here to note that you could actually use the copy function with regard to files and folders as well. As in, if you want to bring that file from place A to place B, and you can't easily drag or drop, using the copy and the paste functionality, which can be found in the right-click drop-down menu on both the Windows and the Apple computers, you're able to share and to place those images in other places simply by using that copy and paste. Now, I'll also point out with regard to finding files, how you can go about doing that, and what are the common places that you could find files. The first thing I'll point out is the trash, in the idea that sometimes people accidentally delete things that maybe they didn't intend to delete. And your trash bin or your recycle bin is always going to be found on the bottom right of your dock, the bottom right of your menu bar, at the bottom of your computer. If you don't see it there, it's definitely somewhere on your desktop, which means you've moved it at some point. But the idea here is that this trash contains all the files that you've deleted. And usually over the course of a 30-day period, those files will remain in that trash folder on your computer for you to retrieve. So if you've ever lost a file and you're not sure where it is, the trash is usually a good place to check in the case that potentially you may have deleted that file. And as mentioned, usually you have up to a 30-day window, maybe a bit longer or shorter, to retrieve that file before it's automatically deleted. Now, next up, we have, as I mentioned, folders. And this is the idea that if you know you want to find an image from a vacation you took 3 years ago, and you have organized your folders well, you may very well have a folder called Vacation 2023 and the name of the place, and that file may very well be in that folder. And that's the benefit of using folders and being very careful about naming things correctly and placing things in their correct places. Now, these next three, desktop, downloads, and documents, are all folders that are on your computer, whether you have used them before or not. These are folders that were created on your device when you initially purchased it. And these are very common places for documents and other files to be stored. Your desktop, as we mentioned, is your home screen. And typically, you could drag documents, images, videos, and the like directly from the internet or email onto your desktop because it's so easily accessible. So oftentimes, people place their files on their desktop, and that usually becomes quite cluttered. And the idea here is that if you've ever lost a file and you want to find something, usually, or in certain circumstances, it might very well be found somewhere on your desktop. Another common folder is called the Documents folder, which, as mentioned, is simply stored for all different types of documents. And you could use this folder or not. People tend to use it if they have to keep collections of different types of documents, or you yourself could simply just drag those sorts of files to your own personal folders, which could be kept in the broader Documents folder or on your desktop itself. And lastly are the downloads, which is this idea, similarly as it's termed, when you take a file off the internet, either via your email or via a website that you downloaded the file from, it will automatically be placed in the Downloads folder, which means as you begin to use the internet more and more and you take files off the internet, this Downloads folder will become quite cluttered. And I encourage you, I recommend that when you do download a file off the internet, at the first time you do it, move it to its appropriate location based on your file system, whether that be a particular file on your desktop or any of the other folders that you yourself have created. But the idea here is by keeping things in Downloads, it again will become quite cluttered and will be challenging to find files. So again, with regard to finding files, these are kind of the main places I would look before going to other places, which is the trash, your personalized created folders, the desktop, Downloads, and Documents. Now, if going through all that, you can't seem to find what you're looking for, there's also the search functionality, which on the Windows computer could be found all the way at the bottom left. You'll see a little magnifying glass, and you could put in whatever sort of keyword you would like. In this case, I put in the word carrot, and you'll notice that at the top of the screen, this file called Aunt Kathy's Carrot Cake came up because the device, the computer, picked up that the word carrot is in fact included not just in the document, but in the title of that document. And therefore, that may very well be the file you're looking to find, whether you knew exactly where it was being stored. And you'll notice some other results as well. Same thing applies on the Apple side. If I put in the word surf, because I'm looking to find this image called surf.jpg, but I'm not sure where that file is stored, by simply putting in that keyword, you're able to find and discover the file itself and what type of file it is. So the search functionality, which is on the Windows computer all the way at the bottom left, and on an Apple computer all the way at the top right, you're looking for that little magnifying glass, you're able to find and come across the sorts of files that you may not be able to find otherwise. Now, I'll point out these two main applications, which are very important to organizing your files. And this is really the home base. It's called Library on Windows and Finder on your Apple computers. But it's the idea that this is where really everything, all the folders that we've been discussing, are stored. So if we're looking at the Windows computer image here, you'll notice that when I open up the library, which the icon looks like a little group of yellow folders, you'll notice it will take me to this page here, which includes some of the types of topics and folders that we've already mentioned. Downloads, Documents, Desktop, Pictures, and it looks like a self-created folder called Recipes, because maybe this person uses or has a lot of recipes on his or her computer, has created this folder. So again, it's a combination of folders created by your computer and your personalized created folders. But the idea here is that if you ever want to go through your files, folders, and other sorts of documents and the like, going to your library will give you the ability to see everything. You'll see frequent folders in the middle, and you'll also see other folders available on the side. And the same thing applies here to Mac, where again, you'll see your self-created folders, and on the left, you'll see that drop-down panel with the frequent folders we mentioned, such as Desktop, Documents, Downloads, and the like. Now, with regard to creating a folder, which we've been speaking a lot about, on the Windows computer, once you've opened up that panel we've just discussed of libraries, at the top of the screen, you'll see an image of an empty folder indicating that when you click on it, it will create a new folder. Once you click on that button, what will happen was in the panel you're looking at, which in this case, what we've highlighted is Documents, but you want to be in the correct place that you want your folder to be located, and you'll be given the ability to type in a title. So in this case, this person typed in school documents, but of course you want to type in the title that suits your needs and the types of files you're looking to place in this folder. On an Apple computer, all the way at the top of the screen, you want to click on File, found directly to the right of the mini Apple and the word Finder, and you want to tap on the second button that says New Folder. Once you do that, a new folder again, similarly to Windows, will come up, and you'll be able to put in whatever term you would like. In this case, they used finance, but of course, whatever suits your needs is the one and is the title that you want to place in. So that is a very broad introduction to organizing files, how to go about keeping track of all your files, how to search for files, how to create and manage your folders, and how to find files in the most common places such as documents, desktop, downloads, trash, and other folders that you yourself have created. So if you have any other further questions, or you yourself are trying to manage and organize your files and need that extra boost of assistance, please feel free to reach out to us at info@mittlerseniortech.com. We're happy to address any further questions. And if you want to sign up for further classes and learn more information, feel free to visit our website at mittlerseniortech.com. Thank you for watching.